Hey guys, this is Team 1, made up of Amy Dombrowski, David Humphrey, Charlie Palmer, and myself, Lauren Siebold. This is for course EAC584, and this is our final team evaluation project, Part 2, Interview and Presentation. For our interview, we chose Dr. Sean Kellogg. He is the director of the Friday Institute for the Research and Evaluation team. He's also an assistant teaching professor for the Friday Institute 215. So to begin, first we will go over Dr. Kellogg's background and how he came to be in the field of evaluation he is currently in today. Then we will discuss Dr. Kellogg's current work experience as the director of the Friday Institute of Research and Evaluation team and the different types of evaluating he does on a daily basis. Next, we will highlight some distinctions between research work and evaluation work based directly off of Dr. Kellogg's experience, followed by data organization, structure of data, and the access to data, as well as successful identification and sourcing of data based off of the work being conducted at the Friday Institute. We will then review different types of evaluation and assessments that are used by Dr. Kellogg on a day-to-day basis, followed by his viewpoint of change in evaluation over time. Finally, we will pinpoint some of the more rewarding aspects in evaluation work with the reward of evaluation. And then in closing, we will highlight some recommendations for future evaluators, taking into consideration Dr. Kellogg's experience as well as some of our own. Before we jump into the interview summary, we'd like to highlight the company background that Dr. Sean Kellogg is currently working with. So the William and Ida Friday Institute for Educational Innovation is focusing on helping schools become future-oriented organizations that build upon their traditional strengths to better serve the students of today and tomorrow. Their motto is "We think and do" in order to first educate by conducting professional learning, research, and evaluation. Second, innovate by designing supports, tools, and structures for educational change. And then finally, to inspire by convening and catalyzing stakeholders to inform standards, policy, and practice. These are just a few of the things that the Friday Institute is currently focusing on.
As we move on, let us discuss how Dr. Kellogg became an evaluator. In the beginning, he was an educator in the Peace Corps, teaching English as a foreign language. He later earned a degree in Bachelor's of Arts and became a public school teacher in Michigan. Later, he received his master's in Michigan as well. He and his wife later moved to North Carolina and began teaching there and working on his PhD at North Carolina State University. He also got involved at Friday Institute and Instructional Technology. Further, for the last 10 years, he's been doing research and evaluation in K-12 schools and a total of 20 years of education experience and within the public school teacher realm and 10 years as a researcher and evaluator. His current work. So his current experience is about a mixture of 20% research and 80% evaluation, falling somewhere under the umbrella of program evaluation. He continuously works with schools and school districts in whole education organizations. Data organization, structure, and access. In the beginning of most of their business partnerships, they do a logic modeling session. They sit down with the clients and discuss sessions or strategies they are currently working on. What are the goals for the program? And then work backwards. Some of the questions that Dr. Kellogg and team ask are, what are you doing to achieve these goals? He further explains, we help them think, is it realistic to expect those outcomes based on those actions? Then they discuss if the expectations are realistic. Further, they help work with clients to identify what exactly to gather and collect data. Further, it must be based on measurable outcomes. Moving on to identifying and sourcing data. Since they deal with the public school districts in North Carolina, there is information that is required for collection and reporting by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. So there's explicit processes in place. For the new teacher support program, there is a data sharing agreement. Further, as an example, they work with specific schools. For instance, a few years ago, they worked with Hamilton County Department of Education in Tennessee. They are helping assess one-to-one program to give all kids in the school a device to work from home when at school. They realized that there wasn't a time frame that worked with major improvements at the end of the year's standardizing testing. So they used a statement that was a research comprehension assessment for the end of the program. This was to figure out if there was improvements in the student's ability to locate information in the online environment.
For Dr. Kellogg, the difference between research and evaluation work is that research work produces generalizable research, whereas evaluation is much more specific in scope. Dr. Kellogg explained that when they do research work, they often have an idea in mind from the beginning of how they want to craft and shape what they're going to do. And that's based on the proposal from whatever funding agency they're working with. But they do have a bit more control over the process, and it is more proactive if it tends to be on the research side. If it's on the evaluation side, it's a little bit more reactive. So that means that a school or district or an education or organization has something that they want to develop or implement, and they're currently in that process. And so they really want to make sure of doing a good job with it. There are a few different types of evaluation and assessments. There's the EPIC or EPIC model, which is effective practice incentive community model, which is used commonly as an evaluator for a new teacher program. Sometimes they'll want to go beyond measures, so they'll adapt this model to get deeper and more qualitative dives. Dr. Kellogg uses more of the CIPP model or context, input, process, and product. For Dr. Kellogg, the core questions around evaluation have not changed in his career. There have been more models and more tools at his disposal, but the common questions have oriented around, is this program implementing what it said it would? Are they implementing it well? And are the outcomes what you expected to see? And so those core questions have not really changed. They are a bit more careful with language, however. So recognizing that there is a reticence and perhaps a fear of evaluation, alternative terms are used like improvement research, technical assistance, or data support.
When asked what he felt the most rewarding part of evaluation work is, Dr. Kellogg replied that for him, it is seeing the immediate impact of the data collection and analysis, as well as the overall influence of what he does. This is especially true when he partners with organizations such as schools, and the work has a direct effect on what they are doing. Additionally, he appreciates seeing the line of actual work and the resultant changes in the real world. Dr. Kellogg offered a few recommendations for anyone who wants to become a professional evaluator. First, connect with the Research Triangle Evaluation Group. This group has evaluation professionals from many different business sectors. Second, working in a school district can have a big impact. Then you have direct access to the students and the programs that are happening and are able to work with the superintendents. Third, check out other evaluation organizations in the area.